everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the show. And I was bookmarking a whole bunch of stuff yesterday, and I originally was going to talk about the National Guard from Guam, which I probably will get to. But then I realized that today is the 1-year anniversary of 15 days to slow the spread. Yes, people, it is 1 year ago when we said, oh, just chill out for 15 days, stay at home, wear your, well, they didn't even say wear a mask yet then. They weren't even talking about masks, but they said everyone just stays put, you will be saved by the government because the government is here to help. And 1 year later, here we are. Now look, we're on the downswing of the COVID thing, but they had no idea what they were talking about 1 year ago today. And guess, the lead people on it were still Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is the greatest scientific mind, the greatest medical human being on the planet of all times ever, as we know. All right, I need to go. I'm going to go throw up in my mouth a little bit, so here, I'll play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. And stop that music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Tuesday, the 16th of March, 2020. Yes, 1 year to the day where we said 15 days to slow the spread. And we were quite successful at slowing the spread. Maybe man-spreading or something. I don't know. But, what are you going to do? It was the new virus. They didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Here we are. Lots of people have passed. But, hey, most of us who have had it survived. I am part of the 99.97%. Is that what it is? I'm not even sure what well, look, here's the thing. We know that there are probably a lot of people out there who may have had the vid, may have had the coof, that may have had this disease and never knew about it because there were a lot of asymptomatic people. Who knows? I'm going to guess that if they tested 10,000 people, if they tested 10,000 people, I bet they would find a whole bunch who probably had it, never even knew they had it, right? Probably never knew. And that's what I'm working with right now. I'm guessing there's a lot of people who did know they had it. In fact, we thought it perhaps that my 15 days, 15 months, tomato. Yeah, I think they meant 15 months. But I still refuse to blame any particular leader over the fact that this happened, except maybe the governors who put people in nursing homes with the disease. That was probably kind of dumb. But, the idea that you got people out here saying, yes, President Trump is personally responsible for the death of 500,000 people. No, he's not. Unless you're ready to blame every leader in every country that had people die. You can't do it. We had the greatest expert, the greatest medical mind in the history of the world, Dr. Anthony Fauci, leading the task force that kept us safe for 15 days, months, years. I don't know, but and you know, we did follow the advice of the experts, the science. We followed the science. We tried to, but the science kept changing its mind. And the virus just acted like a virus and did its thing. It's not like, I always laughed at the politicians who said, we need to take control of the virus. Need to take control, right? You don't take control of a virus. All you can do is try to mitigate the damage that the virus does amongst your population, try to keep people comfortable, find ways to help people get through the actual, workings of the virus. And they figured out after probably too late that putting people on ventilators too soon was not a good idea. And so they tried to keep people off the ventilators as long as they could. And that seemed to work. There's all kinds of things that they just had to learn. It's just, it was a brand new virus. They didn't know the workings of how it's necessarily, well, they knew how it spread. They knew how, but even though they say they knew how it spread, even when we went into mask mandates, states that had the most stringent mask mandates also had the same results as the places that didn't. So obviously it wasn't the masks, and it wasn't whether in New York, I remember at one point when they were saying that most of the people who were coming up with this virus were staying at home. So how did that happen? So the science, she blinded me with science, didn't seem to make a big damn deal. And so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I'll give you the updates on what's happening today. But that 15 days to slow the spread, well, Now, it happens that, fascinatingly, the time of year that they were saying 15 days to slow the spread, and it kind of slowed, right? It slowed during the summer, didn't it? Everyone remember that? It took a lot longer than 15 days. Interestingly enough, though, it did slow during the summer. And then it picked back up during a season that seems to coincide with the flu season, even though it's not a flu. It's not the same type of virus. But it's funny how it seems to be a seasonal, because this last winter was brutal, right? As far as the virus spreading, as far as more people dying. Not nearly as bad as it was in the beginning, because we figured out there's things you could do to help people stay alive during it. But we had to learn those things. And now we have a vaccine, and that's going to slow things, slow the spread, so to speak. And we've had a lot of people who've already had it, like myself. Millions of people have had it who are less likely to get it again. I mean, extremely unlikely, I think they've got, I don't remember if it was like 2,000 cases in the entire world of people who've gotten it a second time. And then and always the second time, it was a milder case. Although I think there might have been a couple people who died getting it the second time. But for the most part, think about your odds on that, though. Think about the odds. Okay. Your odds of getting it twice out of how many people have had it? Let me look that up real quick. Let's go to Worldometer. Let's go world. 120 million cases around the world, and roughly 2,000 have gotten it a second time. That's pretty good odds. That's much better than lightning. That's, I mean, that's, well, it's not quite lottery odds, but you know what I'm saying? It's just pretty slim chance of getting it twice. So, I know it's funny because I'm having a challenge with my spouse who got vaccinated, and the first vaccination she really didn't have any problem with. The second one, she got a little weird, didn't feel so good, and her arm got stiffened up on the second shot, but she's doing fine now. But we're having this discussion on whether or not I need to get vaccinated. And I don't know. I mean, every other virus, once you've had it, right, you build that immunity to it. It can't be any better than the vaccination, or can't be any worse than the vaccination, I'm sure. And I know that they've even gone back and forth on that, on whether or not once you have it, can you get it again? Or do you have immunity? Obviously, your body has fought it off once, and you have the antibodies that can do that. So I'm not sure what the point of getting a vaccination once you've already had it either. But they're going to try to tell us to. I know that. So it's fascinating. Thank you, Ex-Baba Hotep, first sponsor of the show today, who sponsored the show through Streamlabs. Thank you, sir. Who says, trying to keep my rage down. My best friend has a baby with respiratory problems. The mother has 2 kids prior with joint custody. The father of the 2 kids dropped them off after the weekend and later told them, by the way, I tested positive for COVID. Wow. Now, see, that's stupidity. I understand your rage exactly. See, that's the thing. There are stupid people out there who are going to do stupid shit. And the fact that he tested positive for COVID, oh my God, what an idiot. What an idiot. That's terrible. That is just terrible. Thank you, Ex-Baba Hotep, by the way, for sponsoring the show. I appreciate your continued support. Wow. See, now people with respiratory problems have to be more careful. Elderly people need to be more careful. People who are obese need to be more careful. And we need to protect those people. And this idiot, I hope you don't mind me calling him an idiot, because he is an idiot. Tested positive, dropped the 2 kids off. 2 kids had the 2 kids around him after he tested positive. Probably should have made a phone call the moment he tested positive and said, hey, I should probably keep the kids for a while just to be safe. But what a dumbass. What a dumbass. That's terrible. I am so sorry to hear that, Ex-Baba Hotep. I pray that there are no other issues. Again, hopefully. Now, what we've found, I wonder how old the child is, but it has respiratory problems. So that's a baby. It's possible because, again, kids are less susceptible to get it, or be able to pass it. But in that case, that's one of those cases where you go, can't you be smart enough to take some precautions and understand that there are other people besides you? Anyway, what a dipshit. Anyway, sorry to hear that, Ex-Baba Hotep. So anyway, we're going to get into the news, but let me say good morning to everybody, because that's what I do on the Morning Night Live. Looks like we got 45 people in the house, 48 people in the house. It just keeps going up and up and up. That is fantastic. Let's say hello. Starting with Becca Fairley, who was first. Oh, no, I forgot the damn bell. Hang on a second. Sometimes I just need someone in here. Well, I do have my cup of reparations, though. I am prepared for that. And that, my friends, is fantastic. But I have to grab my bell here because I forgot to hook this damn thing up. Silly me. SFM. That's a thing we used to say in my high school. All right, there we go. Becca Fairley, thank you for being here first, and also thank you for tweeting out the show. Good morning, Jesse. I'm going to have to go through this quickly now because I've been talking too long already. Good morning, Jesse Leon. Good morning, Select a Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Good morning, Somnambule Nation. James PFP. All those Streamlabs things, it's messing up. Also, good morning to Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadian. Good morning, Uncle Stepdad. Good morning to, let's see, where are we at here? Jonathan Peterson, how you doing? Advocatus Diaboli, the Devil's Advocates in the house. Good morning, Mr. Yes. By the way, I watched a movie on Netflix. Was it 2 nights ago called Yes Day? Had the Capital One chick. She's used to be married to Ben Affleck. What's her name? Jennifer Garner. Cute movie. It was not a. Believe me, it was not. It was not. What would you call it? It wasn't highbrow cinema by any stretch of the imagination. Just a cute movie about the family and they're having this Yes Day, and it was just a cute movie. It was a little bit predictable, but it's funny. I crack up at how movies are made this day with all the woke stuff. They have I'm fine with diversity in movies, but sometimes it's inexplicable. Not this particular movie, but I've been watching movies a couple days over the last couple of nights with Lady Boomer, and some inexplicable diversity that you go, huh? How does that work? And it's like. There's a baseball movie about this small town baseball guy who's trying to make it big, and like some hick town in the middle of nowhere. Of course, it is in the South, so I don't know. Why am I going on that tangent? Let me just keep going. Mr. Yes, hello. Also, good morning too. Bishop, nice to have you back. Welcome. Also, Justin Anderson, nice to see you. Attack Alpaca, Bastard Beast, ex-Bubba Hotep. Cracker Rob's in the house. James Colley, get on with it, Boomer. Yep, I'm here. What? Oh, merch idea for a mug. Oh, maybe that is it. Okay, James Colley, put it in my DMs or in the comments section. Also, good morning to Don Keaton, Gulf City Biker Trash Man. Good morning to Rydeos. Nice to have you back. Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Is in the house. Also, Maddie is here, and good morning, Ronan. I just thought of something, because Maddie and Ronan are trucker people, and I have a lot of trucker people who watch this show. And for whatever reason, Lady Boomer and I were talking about it last night, and we thought, oh, I should get a truck horn for all my trucker people. So I'm going to work on that. That's going to be one of my next sound effects. Also, good morning, Amy in Connecticut, Jade and Emerald. Who else is here? Molly Maggs, what's up? Lord Stanhope. Let's see, who am I missing? Gunfox61, the ever so faithful administrator of the Discord. Please join the Discord server if you want to get a little extra side info going on. Good morning, Uncle Bad Touch.
Come on, man.
We know who you are. Uncle Bad Touch, we know who you are. Also, good morning, C. Thomas. Oh, just peasant, not Gulf City peasant. PDawgKnight won't know I'm here. I see you. C. Thomas. Ronan's in the house. Put on the sunglasses. Good morning, Renee Mayette. Good morning, Scotty Dubs, Keenan, Midnight in Exile, and Jaden Emerald, who I already said. Is that it? Okay, that's it. All right. And what do you got? 52 in the house, 25 likes. Hit the like button sometime during the show if you really like what we do, like what we see. Also, MC's in the house.
Hammer time.
And the hypnagogic monk. All right, I'm skipping a meeting to be here. Oh, well. Come on, man. As C. Thomas says. All right, so, and Anna Lynn's in the house, too. All right, let's talk about what's happening in the world of let's start with the vid. Let's start with the coof. Let's start with the vid. Let's start with the sweet and sour sniffles, the whatever, there's all kinds of names for it. Hello, Os San, too. This is the part where we wave and say good morning. Well, good morning to you, too. And I got to go to live chat. I just realized that I was on, what do you call it? Top chat. And I don't know if that makes a difference yet. I don't know how many people you have to have in the chat to make a difference between live chat and real chat, but I changed it over just now. All right, let's talk about some new CDC stuff going on with the coof. Apparently, there's some new CDC guidance regarding chillins, the children. Do it for the children. Lancelot, 652. That's a name I haven't seen before. I'm sure you may have been here, but I'm glad you're here now. Welcome to the show. And I think I have seen your name before. I don't know. And by the way, if you are here, you haven't been here before, or you're new, or you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click that little bell thingy so that you get notifications from YouTube. Or if you don't trust YouTube, like me, you can also subscribe to me. It's up there. Twitter, Minds, Gab, Parler, and Cloud Hub. Any of those platforms, I do notifications there. I'm more active on Twitter. I'm somewhat active on Minds. The other three, they're just notification places for people who've gotten kicked off of Twitter. I probably should start doing it on the Discord too, but I'm not sure how notifications go out on Discord. Oh, when you do everybody. So I'll have to do that too. 15 days to curb this. 15 days to stop the spread. That worked out. Anyway, here's the new CDC guidelines for toddlers and kids. And parents are not going to like it. You know, it's amazing. Because the children, I watch often, but I'm normally lurking while at work. Well, there you go. Cool. I'm so glad you joined us on the often. That's fantastic. Okay, let's talk about this because we know that the instances and the severity of cases among children, or even just among people younger than 65, haven't been as devastating as it has been for older people or people with other conditions, right? Good morning, Snoopy, by the way. So, Marty, Parler's back. Yeah, Parler is back, by the way. I never did mention that when it came back, but it is definitely back. Okay, we know that kids aren't affected by this as much as adults. And, in fact, the death rate of children who've gotten this is far lower than the flu. You should be more worried about the flu than COVID with your children. Although, I'm not a doctor giving you advice, but it is one of those things, right? It's dangerously early on the left coast. My mom told me to send her love. Oh, thank you. Nice to see you, Woo, and say hi to mom for me. Now what is my friend from high school? My dear friend who I've known since 1980. It's amazing, isn't it? I'm like, we've known each other 40 damn years. That's crazy. Good morning, Cynical Lindsay, also. So anyway, all right. It's safe to assume that no one at the CDC has ever had a toddler. If they had, they would know their new guides for daycare centers and preschools is insane. Oh, I'm going to guess. Now, I haven't even read this. I just saw the article. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. My guess is going to have something to do with masks. Have you ever tried to keep a mask? Remember the lady who got kicked off the plane because her 2-year-old would not keep the mask on? They kicked the family off the plane, and I was like, are you freaking serious? Anyway. If they had, they would know their new guides for daycare centers and preschools is insane, not just from a scientific perspective, but from a feasibility perspective. The new recommendations may also make you wonder why CD guidance is getting more restrictive in light of increasing levels of vaccination and waning cases. The new guidelines call for mask wearing for children aged 2 and older. Not like a kid wearing a mask is ever going to touch that mask or wipe their nose on it. Or pick their boogers in it. Anyway, good morning, Baroness Snark. Oh, that's a new name, Baroness Snarks. Baroness Snark? How you doing? Nice to see you here. That's a new name. I'm glad to hear. Hit the subscribe button and all that stuff. Everyone 2 years and older should wear a mask covering their mouth and nose when around people who do not live in their household, except when eating or sleeping, because when you're eating, the coronavirus magically is repelled. Kind of like, it's kind of like mosquito repellent, right? You spray it on and then the mosquitoes they will light, but they won't bite. Well, coronavirus, if you are eating, specifically when you're eating, that is exactly when the coronavirus says, oh my God, that person's eating. I'm going to stay away and I'm not going to bite, right? Stupid people. Anyone who thinks 2 and 3 or 4-year-olds are going to tolerate this has never met one. In a stunning statement, it goes on to say, even after child care providers and staff are vaccinated, there will need to be there will be a need to continue prevention measures for the foreseeable future, including wearing masks, physical distancing, and other important prevention strategies outlined in this guidance document. Brilliant. This recommendation is in opposition to everything we are learning about the effectiveness of vaccines. In 7 large-scale trials, not a single person who received the vaccination has suffered from severe illness or death. According to USA Today, quote, all 7 COVID-19 vaccines have completed large efficacy trials. Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Novavax, AstraZeneca, Sputnik V or Sputnik 5, Sinovac appear to be 100% effective for serious complications. Not one vaccinated person has gotten sick enough to require hospitalization. Not a single vaccinated person has died of COVID-19. Additionally, Moderna and Pfizer had 94.1% and 95% effectiveness, respectively, against mild illness. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine demonstrated 72% effectiveness against the same in the United States. These are the 3 brands currently being distributed under an emergency use authorization from the FDA. Israel's real-world experience displays similar results. The country's vaccinated 45% of its population through March 6, 14 days after the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine. They found 97% effectiveness against symptomatic COVID-19, hospitalizations, severe and critical disease and deaths, 94% effective against asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 infection, and the risk of death was too small to be calculated 7 days after the second dose. So, what does that tell you? By the way, thank you, X-Bubba Hotep. Oh, by the way,
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
thank you so much for the continuing sponsorship of the show with the Devil's Donation, 666, who says to give a little more info, the baby is 4 to 5 months old right now, was a premature birth, was in the hospital for a month because of the oxygen levels. I really hope I don't meet this guy for both our sakes. Whatever you do, X-Bubba Hotep, please stay out of jail just for the for all of us and for the sake of your family. But I understand that perhaps in my case, that gentleman might need a size 14 rectal cobbler extraction kit, because my foot would be all the way up in there. I understand where you're at. Holy shit. All right. We also know the risks, continuing, we also know the risk stratification for severe illness and death with COVID-19. According to the CDC, it's significantly correlated with advanced age, old people, not young people, which would not be the bulk of the population providing daycare and preschool services. Yeah, because most of the people sometimes there's little old ladies that work at daycares and preschools, but it's usually younger people, right? I mean, let's just be honest. It's younger people. Even the people who run daycares and preschool tend to be, in their younger 40s or whatever. I mean, occasionally the old people, like my kid's Montessori school, the woman was an 80-year-old Shaolin monk, but that was back then. But whatever. They're so stupid. Additionally, I would assume that President Biden would not mislead a child. At a recent town hall, he told 8-year-old Layla, who was worried about catching COVID and dying or giving it to her parents, he said, first of all, kids don't get COVID very often. It's unusual for that to happen. Children aren't the people most likely to get COVID. You're the safest group of people in the world. Number one. Number two, you're not likely to be exposed to spread it to mommy and daddy. And it's not likely mommy and daddy are able to spread it to you either. Ha! Ha! What? And what is the CDC doing here? By the way, good morning, Moonbase Radio. Good morning, The One Who, formerly known as The One Who Tubes. In Scottish, calling somebody, what it means to call somebody a tube or a tube? Anyone here? Oh, some of you, I know I have some people from across the pond. Tell us what calling someone a tube means. Just if anyone knows, just put it in the chat. I want to see if anyone knows what that means. Question for our town hall are scripted, and their answers are too. Yeah, especially with Joe Biden. Biden articulated an accurate summary of all the research to date on young children and COVID-19. It's also consistent with comments made by Dr. Anthony Fauci during congressional testimony in November 2020. After a year of living with COVID-19 and increasing vaccination, it is high crime for the CDC to make balanced risk assessments. Given the exceptionally low risk of severe outcome in daycare or preschool setting, should we be more concerned with young children's social and emotional development? Yes, we should. Toddlers learn social cues and language by seeing people's facial expressions and watching them articulate words. Our children's education has suffered broadly over the last 12 months, and as a society, we should be looking to mitigate further losses as quickly as possible. Unless the CDC has information about COVID-19 that has not shared with the public, this guidance is difficult to understand. No, it's not. No, it's not, because the CDC has become an agency that their job is to try to scare you into things. I don't know why that is. Because they've been telling us, it's not like we haven't seen the science. I mean, maybe not everybody, but the people who pay attention to this stuff has actually paid attention to the actual science. They love to talk about how much they love science, but boy, they pretend they don't. Anyway, it seems like an agenda. It's like when Biden made a speech the other day and he was talking about, well, if you follow the guidelines, maybe we'll give you that reward in July 4th where you can have a small gathering in your backyard. By the way, I gotta make my 4th of July. I have a 4th of July video I'm making because my sons and his friends do the weekend up at his girlfriend's parents' home up on the lake in northern Minnesota, and I think I'm concerned about actually showing it because it kind of shows you how much fun we had on the 4th of July in a large group setting. But I don't know people who actually, completely cut themselves off for the 4th of July, except for maybe people who are worried about, older people. Like I know, like our older relatives, we're very careful of the 4th of July, but not the younger people. Anyway, real quick, thank you, Maddie, for being a sponsor of the show. Through Streamlabs today with a Lincoln on the board. That person to whom you want to give a leather enema has a severe case of cranial rectal disease. You may find his brains when you put your foot there. I hope everything works out. Ex-Bubba Hotep, much love. I greatly agree with that. Thank you, Maddie. And we're all thinking about you. I don't know if they have a size 14 extraction kit anyway, so I might just lose a shoe. Anyway, all right. So anyway, that's the latest on why. I have a hard time believing that it's about anything but control. And let's see. Let's look at this real quick. I want to see something. So here, because I'm gonna take this link and just go comments by Anthony Fauci, November 29th, 2020. Okay, here's the article. Real quick. Before I do that, thank you, C. Thomas, for sponsoring the show, a longtime friend and sponsor of the Morning Night Live, who says the CDC and Fauci are seriously trying to make us accepting their guidelines, which totally aren't laws, but really are about their edicts. Joe Biden, a puppet, and the Chinese are still 100% responsible for all this.
China is asshole!
F China and F Biden. Well, okay. And F Fauci. Well, here's what Dr. Fauci said in November. Okay. He confirms that children don't catch or transmit COVID-19 in large numbers. This is from November. What's the date of this article? Yeah, it's from November 29th of last year. Better late than never, perhaps because he believes Joe Biden will be inaugurated in January. Dr. Fauci's finally admitted that children don't get terribly ill from or transmit COVID-19 in any significant way. Weird, since Switzerland figured this out in April. Detailed genetic studies in Iceland showed that children were not passing the virus to adults in any significant numbers. In June, German researchers asserted that children could actually act as a brake on transmission within the community. Yeah, we knew this last year, and they're still talking about putting masks on kids. Give me a break. Anyway, let's see. But good old follow the science Fauci was wringing his hands and hedging his bets in the media during a congressional testimony. He most notably got in a heated exchange with Senator Rand Paul, who's also a doctor. And the thing is, Rand Paul is a practicing doctor. Actually, he's a professional doctor who's already done his practicing. I know I hate that joke. Anyway, and when was the last time Fauci saw a patient? But Paul correctly. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to leave that tab open so you can see what they were saying in November in other parts of the world. And there are links in this article to Switzerland. Let's see, Switzerland science. There's genetic studies from Iceland, and a Guardian article on the German study are all linked within that article. So check out that article from back then. Again, thank you again, Steve Thomas, for sponsoring the show. All right, let's move on because our other overlords. Oh, why is there a picture of Candace? Candace got her hair did. They got. You know what? I'm not. I'm not a big fan of Candace. Although I don't dislike Candace, I think Candace is just fine. In fact, I'm going to do another video on her and a whole slew of black conservatives. But anyway, but she looks good in these pictures for a show from the Daily Wire. Facebook is continuing to try to be the what I call them, techno oligarchy. They're still being a techno oligarchy, and trying to control our lives. If you're on, that's why I don't spend a lot of time. In fact, I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I don't spend any time on Facebook anymore. I just can't do it. I click over there and I click right out of it. I can't do it. Although on the my PDawgKnight, I have a Facebook page I don't use for PDawgKnight. Although I have to check that every once in a while, only because I think the only person I am friends with on Facebook and my PDawgKnight channel is Uncle Hotep, and every once in a while he posts on what he calls normie book. Anyway, the techno oligarchy is trying to control people again. They will label all posts about coronavirus vaccine and promote authoritative information. Good morning, Gamer Valine. Hello. Forgot about DST. Oh, daylight savings time. I thought you lived in Arizona. Oh, about everybody else's daylight savings time, because they don't do that shit in Arizona. Anyway, Lady Boomer and I were talking about that yesterday. She just wishes they would dump daylight savings time. Now, I personally kind of like having the light. Well, I used to like having it be the light stay. Be lighter later in the evening when I stayed up late, but now I don't stay up late anymore because I have to be up early every day. So I'm torn. I don't know why they still do it. I mean, it's not like farmers are gonna like not get up that hour earlier to do their farming. It's old, whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. Candace Owens. Okay, so there are disparate opinions about Candace Owens. Even in our own chat, one person says Candace Owens is a moron. I would never vote for that idiot. Be president to save my life. I don't know. I'd vote for the president. She is becoming more knowledgeable about what she's talking about. I started. What was the one I watched? I watched an interview she did with who's that guy? Not Michael Eric Dyson, because that probably would be a shit show. I can't remember, a guy that most of us would disagree with everything he said, and I'm realizing that as she's done her interview show, she has gotten better, not only at articulating a conservative message, but also just are staying out of stupid statements, which was her problem early on. She was so wedded to talking points that she could not think outside of the talking points. And I think she's learning. I'm not convinced that it's still not all about Candace. That's my problem with her, that I think, she's been helped up these platforms with so many people, but she's never left the ladder down for anyone else. And that's part of my problem with her. And part of my problem is, for the longest time, she was nothing but talking points and wasn't as thoughtful as she could be. She's getting better, though. I'm still not a fan, but I'm not a detractor necessarily either. I think there's a whole bunch of voices that could be helped by a discussion, including her in the discussion. Problem is, she doesn't want to be in a discussion. She wants to just say, she wants to be the talker. She wants to be the dictator. She wants that. And I don't mean dictator as in, like, those people with funny mustaches and shit. Anyway, and then someone else is, Candace is a sexy, beautiful woman, and the Candace Patton from Flash are my dream threesome. Okay, I'm not sure where you were going there. It's Justin, but that's okay. All right. Anyway, not gonna listen. I'm gonna try to set up a doxing website. Look, hey, and I don't know if she's never really owned up to that. But although she has said that was a bad idea, that she was wrong, and she's still a grifter. I'm not saying. Again, she's about Candace, and her notoriety and things has certainly probably made her boatloads of money, and I'm sure that's an important factor in her life. But she's long disavowed that thing. All right, let's move on. Facebook will label all posts about coronavirus and promote authoritative information. Facebook will begin slapping labels on all posts about coronavirus vaccines that point users to authoritative information as the mammoth social media company works to respond to criticism that it has allowed vaccine and misinformation to proliferate on its platform. Oh my God, people have opinions that people don't like. Oh, I'm getting the vapors. The company said Monday in a blog post that it has already started adding labels to posts that discuss the safety of coronavirus vaccines. The labels direct users to Facebook's COVID-19 Information Center, which includes credible information. Yes, the first place I'm going to look for credible information is Facebook. Anyway, from the World Health Organization. Oh, and them too. And will appear on Facebook-owned Instagram as well. Well, thank goodness. Over the next few weeks, Facebook said it plans to add labels to all posts generally about coronavirus vaccines. Kind of like Twitter. Didn't Twitter do that? I know YouTube did that about coronavirus. I'm like, fuck off. Anyway, even if you just mention the word COVID in the how YouTube automatically will transcribe your video, like if you want to use closed captioning. Well, if you say the word, all of a sudden you look back at your, when you click on your header, and there it is. There's the COVID-19 info, just in case you want some authoritative information. Let me ask you something. All right, here's a question for the chat today. How many? And that's all you need to know. Facebook's going to turn into YouTube as far as that goes. Here's a question of the day, or at least the first question of the day that you can answer in the chat. How many people in the chat have ever actually clicked on the COVID-19 information that's listed under a video? Has anyone ever done that? I know it hasn't even crossed my damn mind, but put a 1 in the chat if you have, and put a 2 in the chat if you have not. I'm just curious. Good morning, Random American, by the way. Nice to have you here. Also, Renee Mayette. Hi. And I think I'm caught up. I said Adeline earlier. All right, I got everybody. Sean, I saw you too, somewhere up there. Yeah, if you've ever clicked on the COVID information under a YouTube video, one. If you never have, click right to put in 2. I'm voting on this one too. There, I've never ever once clicked. All right, moving on. The last COVID article of the day. Joe Biden is trying to get people to trying to promote coronavirus vaccines. And so he says that he wants to urge pastors and priests to urge pastors and priests to promote coronavirus vaccines and masks to MAGA Americans. MAGA Americans, I wonder if that's a new, can you get, well, I'm not a MAGA American, but is that a new demographic, MAGA Americans? President Joe Biden urged local pastors and priests on Monday to promote the coronavirus vaccines to skeptical supporters of former President Donald Trump. Do you think you know what's amazing here? They keep trying to tie the skepticism of vaccines, of coronavirus vaccines, to and try to label that as someone that Trump supporters would do. Okay, and I don't believe that that's accurate. I know that a lot of people in my demographic are skeptical about vaccines, and that goes back to, you know, the Tuskegee experiments and all sorts of shady shit they did to black people in the past. Now, not that they're doing that now, but it's not just MAGA people. It's just weird how they're trying to. Now, I granted there are a lot of people. I don't know. I don't get it. Plus, I think, although there are a lot of MAGA people who don't trust the CDC, don't trust Dr. Fauci and things like that. But I would say that it's not any more prominent than in the general population. Who knows? Anyway, good morning. Who did I just see that just got here? Johnny Bonsaco. What's up, my brother? All right. Anyway, during a White House event on coronavirus relief, Biden was asked by a reporter how to get more Republicans and supporters of President Trump to get vaccinated. I urge all local docs and ministers and priests to talk about why it's important to get that vaccine, and even after that, until everyone is in fact vaccinated, to wear a mask. This mask, Biden said. Probably forgetting that he was wearing a mask. He was probably touching the mask, and he probably took it off to sneeze like he often does. Biden said he discussed the issue with Republicans remaining unwilling to get the coronavirus vaccines with his staff. They say the thing that has even more impact than anything Trump would say to the MAGA folk is what the local doctor, what the local preacher, what the local people in the community say, he said. An NPR PBS Marist poll released Thursday showed 41% of Republicans had not received the vaccine or would get it. Wait a minute. 41% of the country had not received the vaccine. How many? God. Have they vaccinated 60% of the public? I don't think so. I don't think they're anywhere near that. So what? Anyway, President Trump briefly told his supporters, go get your shot during his speech at CPAC in February. Anyway, whatever. More propaganda. All right, let's move on. Because I am trying to get this actually through this today. This is, we talked the other day about Tucker Carlson and the thing he had with the military people coming at him for whatever he was talking about. And the weirdest thing yesterday, let's see if I think I bookmarked that. Okay, this pissed me off yesterday. So yesterday, now what's her name? MTG, whatever they are, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, she's a goof, right? She's a goof. We all know that. Not everything she says is wrong, but she's just kind of a goof, right? And she said something, you know, when she was making a speech, she made some off the cuff remark about, you know, how we're spending all our money on foreign this and that. And she mentioned this country, that country. And she said Guam in there. Now, Guam is a U.S. territory. It's not a state, but, you know, and whatever. So, and she called Guam a foreign land. So this congressman gets members of the National Guard squad from Guam to pay her a visit, because it's been a U.S. territory since 1898, and its residents are U.S. citizens, which is fine. I mean, same with Puerto Rico, you lovely island. So this is the scene yesterday at her, where her, you know, the thing, her office. And I'm just going to play this. Oh, let's just dispense the dramatic music. I mean, first of all, some knucklehead decided it was important to put this to dramatic music. But this is bullshit. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Let's scan the music here. So he gets a bunch of National Guard people to go to her office. And actually, I want to hear what they say. This jackass. Now, why he thought this was a good idea, I gotta ask you something.
Hey, how's it going? I have my congressman from Guam here. Wanted to pay a visit. Just wanted to stop by. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now what is funny too, because in the comments of this, someone was saying, "Oh, it's not surprising your staff wasn't wearing masks." Yeah, they were wearing masks. This is just, what is this? Is this intimidation?
So I would assume she'll be back in about 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
If you guys want to circle back.
Do you know how long she'll be back?
If you want to circle back, that's
Because
hilarious.
we are also making some deliveries to leadership in Capitol.
So I can't speak to that. I think we're about to start the new round of votes. I'm
Right.
not actually We're about to start the new round of votes and stuff. So
Okay.
Can we just text your scheduler or email your scheduler? Just
You
to,
can text me.
can you give me your number? Or
Yeah.
I can give you my card or whatever.
Yeah, they were bitching
I
about
also
it.
have my Guam guardsmen that are out here on the deployment. They wanted to come over and say hello too.
Absolutely.
Why? Why? To intimidate her? To make a spectacle of themselves? This is a terrible idea. Now, imagine. Because remember, okay, let me think about this. Who was the one who thought Guam would tip over? Hank Green. Someone said about this. Oh, I heard of this in the Monkey in the Morning this morning. Imagine. Or let's use a different example. Let's say that AOC, after she had taken her little tour of the ICE, whatever, the detention facilities down in Texas with her little white picture photo op, the crying at the fence that's actually looking at the road going to the facility because they never got anywhere near the facility, and her just with this and that. Could you imagine if, say, Senator Ted Cruz or Dan Crenshaw or somebody like that decided, okay, well, you know what? Because after calling them concentration camps, if, let's say, Congressman Dan Crenshaw went and gathered a bunch of ICE agents and Border Patrol agents and went to pay a visit to AOC's office, could you imagine the uproar? This, oh my gosh, she brought people of military people and whatever to her office, trying to intimidate a poor, Latina woman. Could you imagine that? But they have no problem with this bullshit. Unbelievable. And also, why are people in the military, because the National Guard is part of our military, they are, whatever. Why are military people participating in a political stunt? Every single one of these people who participate in this should know better. And a congressman taking him out on this political stunt should know better than to use the military for your silly political stunt. This is unbelievable.
We'd love to.
Anyway, thank you, C. Thomas, for the sponsorship donation here. My skepticism of the mass vaccine and the numbers all stem from the left's obsession with forcing their viewpoint on me at all costs and seek to censor, stifle, and crush all dissent. If anyone uses any means possible, makes me think cult mentality. Thank you. I appreciate that comment. Also, thank you, Scotty Dubs, who says, who's sponsoring us through the super chat. Democrats love to use our soldiers for political props. Oh, I'm telling you, that is talking about using the military as a political prop. That is insane. I just can't believe that he did that. Mike T. Hey, sweeties, guess what? Another day of Joe Biden as your president. Gotta love it. Trump is a goner. Dude, has anyone here said that Trump isn't our president, Mike? By the way, welcome back, Mike. Nice to see you again. Look, Joe Biden is our president, and he's a source of comedy for us for at least a couple more years until he until they do the 25th Amendment on him and Kamala Harris becomes president. But I have to laugh because the other day you said something about going to have to deal with him for 8 years. No, we're not. He's already said he's not running for a second term. He said that when he ran this time, that he's not going to run for a second term. He's going to be 80-something years old when it's time to run for a second term, and he can barely remember to put his pants on now. But you know what? You are correct. Joe Biden is my president. I have no problem saying that. I can't tell you that I'm happy about it, but he is my president. No big deal, dude. Sorry. Nice try. All right, moving on. Let's see. So anyway, speaking of the military become props, this is another article in the old The Federalist, which Mike's probably wondering where do they get their money from, I'm sure. Anyway, U.S. military just became a political attack machine against Joe Biden's opponents. The federal government just used its publicly employed career professionals to target a working journalism for professional destruction. This is kind of what we talked about yesterday. I'm just going to leave this article up in case you didn't catch the one yesterday. But all these people now, granted, the military's social media attack against Tucker Carlson was coordinated. Interesting. Let's go through this because we talked about this yesterday, but not extensively. After cable news hosts irresponsibly attacked the U.S. military for aiding in the death of the Republic by taking to the streets of the U.S. Capitol for use against the American people, the coordinated response from the Department of Defense through its public affairs channel was swift and unforgiving. The headline in the defense.gov news article said, quote, press spokesman destroys host for despicable suggestion about military use, end quote. This is a response to an MSNBC cable show host using her show to denigrate the contributions of the U.S. military in quelling riots and potential insurrection on the streets and to imply that their actions are contributing to the death of the Republic. Let me be clear, the spokesman angrily replied, the U.S. military's mission is to defend the nation against all threats, foreign and domestic. At the same time, it guarantees the people's liberties to peacefully protest and petition the government for redress of their grievances. We would never use them to quash First Amendment guaranteed liberties. Any suggestion by this cable news host to the contrary is scurrilous and an absolute outrage. This is clearly a tongue-in-cheek article. Senior uniformed military leaders were quick to join the chorus of condemnation. I'll remind everyone that Rachel Maddow's opinion, which she has a right to, is based off of actually 0 days of service in the armed forces, said the command's senior enlisted leader of a U.S. combatant command in a video posted to his official military Twitter account. A service chief said that in his 38 years of military service, he's never heard such a despicable calumny about how the U.S. military operates. To suggest we would never employ our brave men and women in uniform to suppress peaceful protests is disreputable and an insult to our fighting force. After nearly 40 years in and around this career field, I've never seen such an unprecedented display by the Department of Defense to rhetorically firebomb a member of the Fourth Estate for disagreeing with the U.S. military through news articles, Twitter feeds, public affairs, talking points, and messages to senior military leaders. The department weaponized its public affairs arm to launch an unprecedented PR offensive to denigrate a journalist and perhaps cancel her for her views. Wait! The Trump Department of Defense never did any of this in response to those actual words of Rachel Maddow linked above. No spokesman denunciation, no coordinated reaction by senior military leaders, no complaint that she should keep her mouth shut because she never served a single day in uniform. The Trump Department of Defense never did any of this, but Joe Biden's Department of Defense just did. Oh my God. Who are you talking about, Mike? You're pulling this straight out of your John Brown hind parts. I'm gonna when you're here, I do like to look for you in the feed just to see what stupid shit you're saying. There are no people out there who think that. They're too busy laughing at the real president. Okay, let me get back to this. But Biden's DOD just did. Last week, Fox News, okay, you get the point. But it seemed, the point of this article is that it seemed like a coordinated attack, like so many different departments came out and denounced Carlson. There's a full court press on Tucker Carlson right now, and I don't pay attention to Tucker that much. I catch certain segments of his show that end up on Twitter, and he's certainly I think I agree with him most of the time, but it's funny that someone in the Department of Defense needs to figure this out. Here's the part of the article I really wanted to get to. This is a gross violation of the Department of Defense's own principles of information against engaging in propaganda. Congress specifically prohibits military public affairs from functioning as a public relations firm for the Department of Defense. That's why it's called public affairs and not public relations. Despite this, the Department of Defense has just abused its public affairs resources to arguably violate statutes and DOD regulations. Absolutely violated DOD regulations. I can tell you that right now. It unarguably violated longstanding norms of propriety and its own principles of information. Now, how the military is supposed to talk to the media. There's a hierarchy of credibility when service members speak to the press. To the news media, the most credible member of the armed forces, the foot soldier. He speaks his mind. The problem with that comes when he speaks his mind about things that he is not informed about, such as Department of Defense policies. He can give a reporter his opinion, whether it is uninformed or not. Both public affairs job is to remind him he should stay in his lane and speak honestly and frankly only about things he knows about or for which he is responsible. The higher up the military chain of command one goes, the more likely reporters are to find military people who don't speak their mind, but only state what their command, service, or the Department of Defense wants them to say. And that's okay. They are not being paid to give out personal opinions, but to speak out on behalf of and in support of the institution. They are often the most informed about the institution, so are highly credible in speaking about its policies. They are not to lie or dissemble, but may explain why they might be constrained in answering a question directly. When a flag officer, general or admiral, speaks, you can be assured he is not freelancing his views. They have much more important and reputable things to do with their time. If they are speaking out, it is because they are giving the Department of Defense position on an issue. In this case, they ought to have recognized that their place is not to share their personal views on a spat between an opinion journalist and the Department of Defense, but they have By echoing and supplementing political views, they've let themselves become a tool of the political appointees at the Department of Defense. Let's not be coy about this either. General Paul E. Funk III may think he is being clever in his tweet against Carlson below. Instead, he is damaging his own credibility and that of the military service he has dedicated his adult life to. His troops who see this campaign for what it is, a campaign to silence a critic, will have much less respect for him for letting himself be played. And he has been played. This is crazy that he thought this was appropriate. Although it is usually not advisable, civilian political appointees may engage in a war of words with someone who figuratively buys ink by the barrel, but Kirby did more than that here. He engineered a propaganda campaign to slam down the full weight of the DOD to silence one opinion journalist for daring to utter his, opinion. This is more than disturbing. It's downright scary. Carlson is a big enough cable news host that he can survive this onslaught, but what of lesser established journalists? They have bills to pay and families to feed. They are not going to risk that when they witness this awesome destructive display of organized vitriol by the Department of Defense. In addition, does anyone think this is a one-off? It is a proverbial shot across the bow by the Biden Department of Defense. Oppose us and we will destroy you. If not vehemently opposed, it will become precedent-setting. Plenty of journalists utter views contrary to what Biden's Department of Defense prefers. Is it prepared to go after all of them, or will it just target journalists on the right? For all cries of fascism regarding Donald Trump's government and his many ill-advised tweets, his Department of Defense, for instance, never attempted to destroy Maddow for speaking her mind, even when she questioned Department of Defense policies or campaigns. That may change now. Why does it matter? Military folk pride themselves on being the ones who fight our nation's adversaries to ensure all Americans can speak freely and the news media can publish without fear of government retribution, as in repressive societies. This week, our military knowingly spoke out to destroy a journalist for exercising his free speech right. If let to stand, it will serve as an existential threat to our republic and our military. And that's the problem. See, I've been telling you, or I've been saying for a while, that, for example, it's not just the conservatives who are being stifled on social media, although they are a prominent group being stifled. It's also, for example, the anti-war left, who I don't always agree with. But the idea that now you can go after somebody for their opinion, and now the United States military, there are people in the United States military who are going after people for their opinion. Well, what about the opinions of people who are against some of our military actions in the future? Are they going to be, is there going to be a shot across the bow to them too? Whether or not I agree with them or not? No. That is absolutely inappropriate for the United States military. Thank you real quick, Scotty Dubs, for another sponsorship with the link on the board from SuperChats, YouTube. Quote, Democrats love to use our soldiers as political props. Now, did you do that again? Did you do that twice? Is that on purpose? I'm confused. Are you just are you just saying it again because or is that my Streamlabs doing some weird shit? Anyway, by the way, good morning, Zach. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you, Zach Osborne. This article goes on. There must be fallout from this. Reporters of all stripes need to apply maximum outrage and pressure upon the Department of Defense for this, lest it become standard operating practice. Senators must use all the tools at their disposal to demand accountability. Now, the problem here is every senator should be able to see that this is not a good idea for our military and should be mad about this. I know Ted Cruz already said he was, but you got to remember, this doesn't Okay, well, then it just popped up again. Some of these double up on their own, even though I'll make sure that it's not double up on YouTube. I'm talking to Scotty Dubs there. Okay. So it's the by the way, it's the notifications that pop up twice, not necessarily that you've done it twice. So I'm just making sure that it's something weird going on with Streamlabs that it's playing them twice, but it doesn't mean you did it twice. Oh, and here I know because it didn't. It would have if the super chat would have shown up again in the chat. So obviously you didn't do it twice. I should just pay attention a little more closely. This is a terrible thing, and the rest of the article explains more why, but I'm gonna let you can when you go if you watch after the show, the articles will be in the tab or in the description down below, in the tab that I have set up. Oh, I should probably change this right now. After the show, I will add the links to all the articles that we touch on in this show. All right, I'm gonna skip ahead here. Okay, let's get into some domestic affairs here. What time do I got? Okay, I got 20 minutes. Good, I'm doing good. So apparently they're charging people in the death of Brian Sicknick. If you're not familiar who Brian Sicknick is, he's the officer who died a day after the Capitol Hill riots, whatever they want to call that. Oh, wait a minute. The insurrection. The Capitol Hill riots. Anyway, two have been charged with using bear spray on Officer Brian Sicknick at the Capitol Hill riot. FBI announced the arrest of two Capitol building protesters for assaulting Officer Brian Sicknick with bear spray the day after the protest and riot. Sicknick died. Sicknick's family was told his cause of death was a stroke, but no other information has been released about his autopsy, and his body was cremated in a phone call with his brother hours after the siege on the Capitol building. Sicknick told him that he'd been sprayed a couple times, but was fine. And of course, it's a Washington Post article. But nearly 10 weeks after the outburst of violence at the Capitol, there's been no other information released about the popular officer's cause of death. That's funny because he's only popular because they know his name now. They didn't give a shit about him before the Capitol riots. But anyway, now in its clear attempt to link the death to protesters, the FBI announced the arrest of a West Virginia business owner, George Tanios, and a Pennsylvania man, Julian Ellie Cater, for using the bear spray to assault Sicknick. Bear spray is a regular feature of nearly every Antifa and BLM riot and is used on police and others with near impunity. Rioters in Portland used bear spray and other weapons over the weekend. Yes, when they were attacking a federal building during the daylight. Which reminds me, I'm surprised that they even had an article about that in the. I'm going to put these articles in the tabs too, by the way, that they linked here. Masked Antifa thugs. Yeah, see, it's doubling up the alert, so that's all it is. Masked Antifa thugs attacked the Portland Democrat headquarters in January, armed with all kinds of explosives and bear spray. Real quick, thank you, Selected Boy.
Yeah, boy.
With this 5-spot through YouTube Super Chat, who says someone should pay dearly for subjecting the military to their foolishness. Yeah, they're being used as props big time. Not only in that case of going to MGT's office, but this whole bullshit with Tucker Carlson, which is, it's interesting because now, you know how I was talking about how during the election season or last year, or the whole last few years, every day there would be some negative Twitter hashtag about Donald Trump, right? Because the curators at Twitter who curate the trending list. It's not a real trending list. It's just whatever they want in there, and what they don't want they take out, because some of it's actually trending stuff, but you know which stuff is the stuff they don't want, because when it'll start trending, they'll catch on and then it'll disappear. So if there's something positive about Trump, it would catch on and then it would disappear, or whatever, anything having to do with people on the right. Well, now it's all of a sudden it's Tucker Carlson that they seem to have a boner for, or I was gonna say a wet spot. Anyway, so Tucker Carlson is the big target now, and so constant articles by sleeping giants, constant attacks by Media Matters, constant left-wing press about Tucker Carlson. Something Tucker Carlson said this, Tucker Carlson said that. And it's almost comical how they're telegraphing their desire to try to get Tucker Carlson removed, or even just Fox News in general. And also, Brian Stelter loves to talk about Tucker Carlson lately, and constant, like I said, he trends on Twitter all the time, and now the military going after him. It's kind of crazy. So I don't know. Thank you. Marty, did I do this? Marty, Barack Obama and Democrats are replacing good military service members with woke and gutting the officer corps with stuck-up college dropouts. I can't wait until they are under fire and lose their shit. Those that did that against Tucker need to be fired. That was part of it during the Obama administration. They did replace a bunch of people in the Department of Defense with, like I said, the woke. And I don't know if I want to wait till they're under fire. It's not them that are going to be under fire. It's going to be because the appointees generally don't go out in the field. So you just hope that the rank and file military is still continuing to learn their craft and do their job, because the only thing that the military is designed to do is to kill people and blow shit up. I mean, yeah, they fix things, whatever, after they blow them up, but their job in general is to either kill people and blow things up, or also to keep other people from killing us. And I don't want them lowering standards so that it can be more, what's the word? Gender diverse. I don't give a shit about that. All I care about is that there are people who can lift heavy shit, carry it around, and use it to kill people and blow shit up. And that's why I had a little problem with the whole pregnancy flight suit bullshit. It's like most people who are pregnant in the military, those women who get pregnant, generally go on a required leave anyway. So I'm not sure why they'll need a pregnancy light flight suit. Why are they designing that shit? Anyway, thank you, Marty. I don't know who Marty is, but I'm going to say thank you, Marty, because it's not me, Marty. It's another Marty. So thank you very much for your sponsorship of the show. Greatly appreciated. Also, good morning, Maniac Man. Nice to see you in the chat. I just noticed you got here, and also fight for your rights. So anyway, anti-Biden here. So here's this from So What. Anti-Biden demonstrators targeted government buildings and the Oregon Democratic Party building in Portland. Biden, as of Thursday evening, had not commented on the Portland and Seattle protest. What? Now, do you notice something about this picture? Hey, let me. I'm going to go into this tweet and I'm going to leave it open. I want to blow it up, and I want you to notice something, because something very, very curious regarding these pictures. Now, and it's regarding to, let me know if you know what I'm talking about here, because something that Merrick Garland, when they were, the Senate was asking him questions in the hearing for him becoming the Attorney General. Remember when he said something, there was something to the effect, well, let me see if you figured, I'm gonna let you figure it out. What do you notice about these pictures that I would be talking about in regards to Merrick Garland? I know a lot of you pay attention, and somebody's going to get this right away. But so see some people, black-clad people. I don't know what they're breaking into. They're doing some kind of riot somewhere. And then there's, oh, what is this? Smoke grenades and some kind of stick to beat people with. Oh, yeah, so peaceful. Yes. Oh, hi, Becca Fairley. Oh, you were here earlier. Never mind. Well, hi again, Amy. And then what else? They fill an admin role while they aren't in flight status. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but isn't there some kind of, there's something they do with, like, they do the same thing with injured soldiers. So they go into, okay, so they go into an admin role. Yeah, they're not out, they don't need flight suits because they're not out flying when they're pregnant. I'm just saying. Oh, someone kind of, oh, there's some bear spray and there's some other weapons and stuff they use. But this first picture, this one right here. Oh, again, thank you, Gamer Valine, by the way. I already read this. They don't go on leave. They fill an admin role while they aren't in flight status. Thank you for sponsoring the show, Gamer Valine. Yes, thank you for sponsoring the show, Gamer Valine. I always appreciate that. Always very nice of you to do that. So, daywalkers, yes. Bastard beasts. Becca Fairley, it's during the day. Avocado Stably, daytime. Yes, it's during the day. So according to Merrick Garland, the new Attorney General of the United States of America, that can now be considered domestic terrorism because it's during the daytime. Well, let's go after him. Oh, wait, probably not. Anyway. The double standard of justice goes deeper as the Capitol Hill protesters and rioters have been treated differently than others arrested for attacks on federal buildings. In the siege outside the White House by Antifa and Black Lives Matter protesters and rioters, dozens of rioters were arrested and then released. Through the siege and fire setting at the President's Church across from the White House, forced the Secret Service to rush President Trump to safety in the White House bunker for fear of being overrun by the out of control rioters. Remember that? Remember when mobs tried to overrun the White House last May, forcing the Secret Service to take the president to the bunker for safety, which was made to look like threats to the country, which was made to look like threats to the country, the police, or the mob. Yeah, remember that? They were all mad at the police that were protecting the president, the church. But where are those insurrectionists? Oh, they let him go. Great. Hello, Zablé, how you doing? I always sound like Herb Villachez when I say that. Zablade. Oh my gosh. Anyway, does that mean in Alaska during the summer solstice everything is terrorism? Well, if they are rioting in Alaska in the middle of summer, I'm just saying it's always terrorism in Alaska. Anyway, after the June 2020 D.C. riots, residents hid rioters and protesters being chased by police for being out after the riot-induced curfew. NBC's Andrea Mitchell feted the homeowners as good Samaritans. What? They're hiding terrorists? The Washington Post ran a story lauding an Antifa and BLM rioters' radical chic fashion shoot showing off rioters' dress and weapons. In the days and weeks following the Capitol Hill attack by mostly Trump-supporting protesters and rioters, with a few exceptions, nearly 300 people were arrested, kept locked up. No bail was granted for most. Of the accused 18-year-old Bruno Kua, a homeschooled student in his senior year, was put in solitary lockup for a second time, granted no bail initially. Many of the Capitol Hill rioters have not been granted bail. Kua scaled the scaffolding outside the Capitol and was accused of pushing a police officer. He's been charged with 12 counts related to scaling the scaffolding and carrying a deadly weapon, a collapsible bat, which he never used, and assaulting the officer who can't identify the perpetrator. To say the charges against the 18-year-old is thin is to underestimate the meaning of thin, but he spent 3 weeks in solitary confinement before being moved into a cell with 30 other inmates. Worse, as Julie Kelly reports at American Greatness, Bruno's parents were considered unfit to return the young man because of their belief the election was rigged against President Trump. Kelly sums up the one-sided prosecution this way. The Kua case has nothing to do with seeking justice for the melee on January 6th or appropriately prosecuting any of the participants. It has nothing to do with making sure the nation's capital or Kua's hometown remains safe. It has everything to do with punishing a family who dared to show up in support of Donald Trump and dared to question the legitimacy of the 2020 election. I remember we read that article a while ago. In contrast, in September of 2020, 26-year-old Kevin Foma was part of a riotous mob at the Portland, Oregon Office of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He was arrested, and he was facing federal felony investigation by the FBI, as a federal felony following an FBI investigation. The U.S. attorneys in Portland issued a press release confirming that Foma had been charged and released after they had found bear spray and a knife on the rioter. Here's from that article. As Portland officers began dispersing the crowd, Foma was witnessed pepper spraying officers. Foma positioned himself with a shield in one hand and a spray can in the other. Foma doused several officers with pepper spray while they attempted to arrest him. Once in custody, officers discovered the pepper spray was in fact a powerful bear deterrent pepper spray. While searching Foma, officers also found a sheathed 3-inch dagger attached to his hip. Foma was later released, of course. He was not charged with assault with a deadly weapon, only civil disorder. His case appears to be ongoing, probably until the media memory hold it. Fully 1/3 of the 90 Portland riot cases brought by federal authorities under the Trump administration were dropped by the Biden administration. F&A. Indeed, nearly all of those arrested and charged with state crimes stemming from the Portland riots have been dropped by the local DA. The double standard of justice has been so egregious that a special counsel has been named to investigate Multnomah County District Attorney Mike Schmidt. Double standard justice is a feature, not an anomaly, of justice in Portland. So anyway, you see that that's quite the rage of bullshit there. By the way, real quick, oh my goodness, we're almost done here. Hey, just a reminder, share the stream out if you haven't done so already. Also, since I'm not going to finish the show right now, but I want you to remember this, hit the like button if you, okay, that's just a double up one. That's so weird that happens. Hit the like button and share the stream out. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can do that through Streamlabs and or YouTube Super Chat. Also, what are the two? Cashapp and Venmo in the description down below. Off hours, you can use Streamlabs 24 hours a day if you like what we do on the channel. All right, let me touch base on the last few that I have set up here. Let's see. This is the okay. I did put open here. I'm going to do this real quick. Let me get the archive version of this. I will have all these articles in the description down below. Immediately after the show, I'll notify you in the chat when they're set up. So anyway, let's do the Washington Post article on this. Just before I do this, the other tabs that I have open, study shows that very few Capitol Hill rioters were QAnon red staters with ties to right-wing groups. A survey by I'll put this on the screen. A survey by the University of Chicago finds that most Capitol Hill rioters had zero ties to any fringe right-wing group. See you later, C. Thomas. Thanks for dropping by. Had no ties to any fringe right-wing groups and were engaged people outraged by what they believed was a rigged election. While colorful weirdos with names such as QAnon Shaman and Baked Alaska, we all know Baked Alaska, stole the headlines, people who were arrested by federal officials during and after the riot were a broader core of people with a healthy skepticism about the veracity of the November 2020 election, according to the study. There was plenty of reason for the skepticism, considering the collusion between big tech, unions, lawfare, and Democrats' combined effort to sway the election. Those efforts were, at the very least, unethical. As Time magazine enthused in the article entitled Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election, there was a conspiracy unfolding behind the election scenes of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans to, quote, save, end quote, the election from Donald Trump, which we saw that earlier. But anyway, the point of this article is that almost none of the people were part of any organized groups. And so even more confirmation that it was probably just a spontaneous riot for the most part, except for a few, very few rare bad actors who may have worked in unison on their own. Also, National Guard Association wants to send the troops around the Capitol home. General Hogan stated in a memo earlier this month to senior Pentagon leaders, Guard officials had difficulty finding enough volunteers to continue the mission. This is not due to a reluctance to serve, not hardly. Rather, it's a reflection of the continuing demands of training and missions back in the States on a predominantly part-time force that must always balance military duties with civilian employers and families. It's also increasingly difficult to convince Guard soldiers and airmen that their continued presence at the Capitol is warranted. Duh. So anyway, you can read that one. That's in there also. Back here in my neck of the woods, the Chauvin pretrials, day 6 midday, civil settlement becomes an issue as the 9th juror seated. It's taken them this long to get 9 jurors, first of all. But 3 jurors profess that they cannot be fair and impartial and were excused. Welcome to our ongoing coverage of the Minneapolis murder trial of Derek Chauvin over the in-custody death of George Floyd. This guy's writing this Andrew Branca. He's attorney for the, I am attorney Andrew Branca for Law of Self-Defense, providing guest commentary and analysis of this trial for legal insurrection. The morning procedures began prior to the start of the voir dire jury selection process, with some ongoing discussion over motions in limine, whatever that means, as well as the defense raising substantial concerns about the impact on defendant Chauvin's right to a fair trial of the announcement last Friday that the Minneapolis City Council had voted to unanimously settle Floyd's civil claim against the city for the sum of $27 million. In limine motions are pretrial arguments to determine what evidence will be allowed or prohibited from the actual trial in front of the jurors, and should be best thought of as the efforts of each side to define the legal battlefield in their own favor. As before, we're going to leave the details of the in limine debates out of these daily juror selection posts, simply in the interest of time. Now, the one problem here that the prosecution, for example, wants to be able to introduce expert testimony that Floyd was reasonable apprehension, was genuinely claustrophobic, and had a reasonable basis for resisting the officer's attempt to arrest him. Oh, sure he did. This will be important to the prosecution's central burden of having to argue in turn that the officer's use of force upon Floyd was unreasonable under the circumstances, the key to making the officer's conduct unlawful. Also raised this morning was the defense's concern of the impact of Friday's announcement of the $27 million settlement of the city of Minneapolis with the Floyd family. Such a settlement will, to lay people, suggest that the city must acknowledge wrongful conduct, and by extension that Chauvin must have acted wrongfully in Floyd's death. That is the bigger problem, because you hear, oh, the city gave him a $27 million settlement. Oh, Floyd must be guilty. Or excuse me, Chauvin must be guilty. Which is a reasonable question. This impression was likely to be formed among both seated and prospective jurors, even if they make a genuine effort to avoid news on the case, because the blaring headlines would be sufficient to notify them of this settlement. So that makes sense that they would object to that. It'll be interesting. I haven't seen, they haven't ruled on that yet, but it may cause them to, postpone this trial. Also, if you want more information on some of the juries that they seated or didn't seat, he has information in this article about that too. Apparently, there was an arsonist who admits to feds that he bombed a women's Republican club. I'm sure that his charges will be dropped, though. A 23-year-old California man pled guilty to an arson attack on a Republican women's club in La Quinta, California in the summer of 2020, according to a statement from the Department of Justice. Carlos Espriu from Palm Desert, who was previously charged with attempted arson in September 2020 after he used a baseball bat to smash windows at the East Valley Republican Women's Federated building, that's a mouthful, and firebombed the building with Molotov cocktails on May 31st, pleaded guilty to one count of arson, according to the Department of Justice statement. Well, maybe they won't let him go. He pled guilty. He'll find a way. The masked Espriu reportedly was seen on surveillance cameras returning to the building to smash more windows and recover the Molotov cocktails he had thrown inside. How do you recover Molotov cocktails? Anybody? Maybe they didn't break or something. Following this, he returned around 30 seconds later, this time without a mask, and threw the set of bottles into the facility, which immediately caused a fire to start, according to a DOJ statement from September 2020. Well, that can't be terrorism. That has to be just an idea, and the idea of fire, and just whatever. All right, enough of that. Let's see, what was this last one here? We'll this is about passport vaccines. We're not going to get into that because I wanted to finish with which one? I wanted to look at the Washington Post version. Okay. We're going to just am I going to throw up reading this? All right, here's the Washington Post article on the arrested people in the case of Brian Sicknick. Federal authorities have arrested and charged two men with assaulting U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian D. Sicknick with bear spray during the January 6th Capitol riot, but have not determined whether the exposure caused his death. Well, it was pepper spray, and Officer Sicknick being a white man, it may explain why white people don't season their food. Okay, that was the worst joke I ever could have told, ever, of all times ever. I've been sitting on that joke for a couple days now, and I actually said it out loud. Oh my God. No, rest in peace, Brian Sicknick. He didn't, I'm pretty sure he died from a stroke, like they say, but they're going to try to tie it to bear spray. Julian Ely Cater, 32 of Pennsylvania, and George Pierre Tanios, 39 of Morgantown, West Virginia, were arrested Sunday and are expected to appear in federal court on Monday. Give me that bear shit, Cater allegedly said to Tanios on video recorded at the lower west entrance of the Capitol at 2:14 p.m., where Sicknick and other officers were standing guard behind metal bicycle racks, arrested papers say. Yeah, that's just the British people, Peter. I know that. That's one of those. Okay, that's one of the stupidest myths that I hear from the brothers, that white people don't season their food. That's not a white person thing. That is certain cultural things or certain regional things. Because in the South, you eat some Southern cooking, just about anyone. If you know any Southern people who do Southern style cooking, they season the hell out of their food. Especially, all of those Cajun people are white, right? They have some seasoning ass motherfuckers. And I'm sorry, that's just a stupid myth, and I just joke about it once in a while. Anyway. And now the video is processed and published. Oh, cool. Zach's is uploading a video. Anyway. About 9 minutes later, after Cater said he had been hit with the bear spray, Cater is seen in a video discharging a canister into the face of Sicknick and two other officers. Arrest papers allege Cater and Tanios are charged with 9 counts, including assaulting Sicknick, a U.S. Capitol Police officer identified as C. Edwards. What? Oh, another, and a D.C. police officer identified as B. Chapman with a deadly weapon. What? A deadly weapon? Bear spray? They are also charged with civil disorder and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. The charges are punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Prosecutors filed charges after tipsters contacted the FBI, allegedly identifying Cater and Tanios from wanted images released by the Bureau from surveillance video and officer-worn body camera footage. The complaint said the men grew up together in New Jersey and that Cater worked in State College, Pennsylvania, and Tanios owns a business in Morgantown. Still, questions remain about whether anyone will be held criminally responsible for Sicknick's death. Without a cause of death, his case has not been established as a homicide, although charging papers allege that evidence of an assault on Sicknick is clear in the video. They're trying so hard. Sicknick died at a hospital around 9:30 p.m. on January 7th, one day after 139 police officers were... No! See how they juxtapose this? Hi, Chef James. I didn't see you here. Good morning. Let's see. Sicknick died in the hospital. One day after 139 police officers were reportedly assaulted by an angry mob of Trump supporters wielding sledgehammers, baseball bats, hockey sticks, crutches, and flagpoles. What? What are they talking about? And who's calling me right now? Oh, it's a spam call. Oh my gosh, they're writing this. This is so bad. This is so bad. I didn't realize I had this on my neck still. At least 800 people entered the Capitol after a smaller number forced entry. So 800 people entered the Capitol. Do you know there was about at least 50,000 people outside that building and 800 entered? Wow. And they're painting the entire group as insurrectionists. Police have testified seeking to block Congress from confirming the November presidential election victory of Joe Biden. Sicknick, 42, who grew up in South River, New Jersey, became the third officer to lie in honor on the Capitol Rotunda in early February, where fellow officers, lawmakers, and President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden came to pay their respects to the 13-year Capitol Police veteran and former New Jersey National Guard member. Authorities have included Sicknick among 5 people who died as a result of the riot. False! Do y'all realize, and I didn't even know this until recently, so again, authority, okay, I'm going to read this sentence again because there's something completely false about this sentence. Authorities have included Sicknick among 5 people who died as a result of the riot. The 4 others were civilians, Ashley Babbitt, who was shot by an officer, and 3 others who died in the chaos. Do you realize that the first person who died at the Capitol that day died before the riot of a heart attack? I didn't know this until today. Until yesterday, or over the last 24 hours, I learned that one of the persons died of a heart attack before the riot even started. Just died of a heart attack. Second person in that chaos died of a heart attack. The third person, they're not sure. They trampled, some kind of injuries, and then Ashley Babbitt was shot by Capitol Police. Referring to Sicknick, a House-passed article of impeachment charged Trump with inciting the insurrection, which he did not, alleging that members of the crowd addressed injured. Alleging that members of a crowd he addressed injured and killed law enforcement personnel. Did not. Trump was acquitted after 57 senators voted to convict him for inciting the attack. This is the Washington Post. But I'll do it this afternoon. I am doing another stream this afternoon about the Washington Post and what they did yesterday. I meant to get to this. Oh, it's in my tabs. I didn't do any of my bookmarks from Twitter. Okay, enough of that article. It's the Washington Post. I can't even read it. Oh my God, it goes on and on and on. I'm not reading it. It's the Washington Post. Anyway, I'm going to go for now. Here's the deal. A la Joe Biden. Oh, real quick, thank you, real quick, to Massive Dynamics, Scribe Light, Tyler F., and RVA Dar, Cynical Lindsay, Maddie, Somnambule Nation, and Becca Fairley, all for tweeting out the show today. Please share this stream. Hello, Mike Savage, Blurg, and Teresa the Kid. So, I gotta go, but I'm gonna do a short stream this afternoon on one topic that'll be the surprise topic of the day. And thank you, Gamer Verleen. Oh no. Okay, I'll show that this afternoon, Gamer Verleen. Thanks. But anyway, this retraction by the New York Post yesterday blew my freaking mind, and I will talk about that this afternoon. I'll do a short stream, and I'm going to be doing some editing this afternoon. But y'all, I gotta go. Thank you so much for being here at the Morning Night Live. Before you do anything, do not click any arrows or tabs or links until you've hit the like button. Please, just let me know that you like me, that you really like me, please. And you can share the stream out through the places up there or the arrow down there. And if you want to donate to the show or become a sponsor of the Morning Night Live or be a creative sponsor of the Morning Night Live, you can name the business and write a commercial for that business. That's always fun when we get those too. You can do that through the YouTube Super Chat, although you can write longer ads through Streamlabs because there's no real character limit. All the character limits are the same. And what else am I trying to say here? Oh, if you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section. That's always very nice because it's nice to know who drops by when we're not here together. And I think that's it for now. So that's all I'm going to say. Hey, I hope y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. I got to go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.